The cold steel of my spear was a familiar weight in my hands, an extension of my will. But now, it was gone. Shattered. I stood in the center of the ring, surrounded by the hulking forms of the Grokner. Their leathery skin, the color of dried blood, was thick enough to turn aside most blades. Their tusks, yellowed and sharp, jutted from their snarling mouths. I've taken down 3 of them, but there were still at least a dozen more, closing in, their guttural laughter echoing in the ruined courtyard. My breath came in ragged gasps, the coppery tank of my own blood on my tongue. My shield arm was numb, my armor dented and cracked. The broken shaft of my spear was a useless stick in my hand. This was it. A good death, perhaps, but a death nonetheless. I tightened my grip on the splintered wood, ready to go down fighting, to take one more of the brutes with me. The largest one, a chieftain with a crude iron crown hammered onto its horned skull, lumbered forward, raising a massive, notched axe. Then, a shadow fell over us. Not from a cloud, but from something solid, something fast. We all looked up, the Grokner and I, momentarily united in our confusion. A figure was plummeting from the sky, a dark streak against the gray clouds. It wasn't a bird, not a dragon. It looked human. He hit the ground with a deafening crash that shook the flagstones, landing in a perfect 3-point stance, right between me and the chieftain. The impact sent a shockwave of dust and pebbles outwards, making the Grokner stumble back. He slowly straightened up, and I got a proper look at him. He wore no armor, just strange dark clothing that seemed to absorb the light. He wasn't particularly muscular, but there was an unsettling stillness about him, an aura of coiled power that made the hairs on my arms stand up. He dusted off his hands nonchalantly, then turned his head slightly to look at me, over his shoulder. He had a surprisingly friendly smile. "Hey," he said, his voice calm and casual, as if he'd just strolled in for a cup of tea. "Looks like you're in a bit of a jam. Mind if I cut in?" The Grokner chieftain, recovering from its shock, let out a furious roar and charged, swinging its massive axe. The man didn't even flinch. He simply raised a hand, and a shimmering barrier of pure, blue energy materialized in front of him. The axe hit the shield with a clang that vibrated through my bones, but the barrier held without a flicker. The chieftain stared in disbelief, and so did I. The man sighed, a sound of mild annoyance. Right? No manners. He lowered his hand, and the energy shield vanished. In the next instant, he moved. He wasn't just fast, he blurred. One moment, he was standing there. The next, he was behind the chieftain, his hand resting gently on the creature's back. A soft blue light glowed from his palm. The chieftain froze, its eyes wide, and then it simply crumbled. It fell apart into a pile of fine gray dust, its iron crown clattering to the ground. The other Grokner stared, their snarling jaws hanging open. The man clapped the dust from his hands. "All right," he said, turning to face the rest of them. "Who's next?" The remaining Grokner looked at each other, then at the pile of dust that was their leader, and then at the strange man with the calm smile. A collective whimper went through their ranks. They dropped their weapons and fled, scrambling over each other to get away from the terrifying human who fell from the sky. In seconds, the courtyard was empty, save for me, the strange man, and the dust. He walked over and nudged the iron crown with his foot. "So," he said, turning back to me, that easy smile still on his face, "I'm guessing you're the one they sent me to find. The last of the spear maidens?" I could only nod, my mind struggling to process what I had just witnessed. He extended a hand. "Good. My name's Kale. It's a pleasure to meet you. Now, about that broken spear. I think I can help with that." And as I looked from his outstretched hand to his confident eyes, I realized my fight wasn't over. It was just beginning. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the edge of the world. See you next time.